New York City, 1920s, a city of ambition, corruption, and power. In its shadows, one man rose above the chaos, Charles "Lucky" Luciano. The father of the modern mafia, Luciano didn't just rule, he revolutionized organized crime. This is the untold story of his shocking rise to power. The early years, from Sicily to New York. Luciano wasn't born into power. He was born Salvatore Lucania in 1897 in the small Sicilian town of Lercara Fridi. His family immigrated to the United States when he was just 9 years old, settling in New York City's Lower East Side. For young Salvatore, the streets were a harsh classroom, a place where ambition met desperation. Luciano's early foray into crime was as much a survival tactic as it was ambition. By his teens, he had already formed a gang, shaking down classmates and running petty rackets. But the streets weren't just about survival, they were about power, and Luciano craved more. By the 1920s, prohibition was in full swing, and Luciano saw his opportunity. He partnered with bootleggers, smuggling illegal liquor across state lines. What set Luciano apart wasn't just his cunning, but his willingness to adapt. He quickly moved from petty crime to high-stakes operations, forging alliances that would define his future empire. The scar that made him lucky. But Luciano's rise wasn't without risk. In 1929, a brutal attack nearly ended his life. Kidnapped by rival gangsters, he was beaten, stabbed, and left for dead. Miraculously, he survived, earning him the nickname Lucky. The scars from that attack became a chilling reminder of the stakes in his world. The attack was not just an attempt on his life, it was a message. But Luciano's response sent a message of its own. Nothing would stop his rise. This resilience would become one of his defining traits. The birth of the Mafia Commission. By the early 1930s, Luciano's ambition had outgrown the traditional mafia structure. The old ways, rooted in Sicilian loyalty and endless feuds, were holding back the potential of organized crime. Luciano had a vision: to run crime like a business. His first step? The Castellamarese War. This bloody conflict between rival mafia factions ended with Luciano orchestrating the assassination of his own mentor, Joe the Boss Masseria. In its aftermath, Luciano established the Mafia Commission, a governing body that united the major crime families and brought order to chaos. Under Luciano's leadership, the Mafia became a nationwide empire, controlling everything from gambling to labor unions. The Mafia Commission was more than a power grab, it was a revolution. Luciano's innovative structure ensured that no single family could dominate, reducing infighting and increasing profits. It was a masterstroke that cemented his place as the architect of modern organized crime. Shocking innovations in crime. Luciano wasn't just a criminal, he was a strategist. He pioneered new methods of smuggling and distribution, using everything from cargo ships to hidden compartments in vehicles. One shocking innovation was his use of corrupt politicians and law enforcement, ensuring that his operations ran smoothly without interference. But Luciano's most controversial move was his involvement in prostitution. He organized a vast network of brothels, making millions but also drawing public outrage. This decision would later contribute to his downfall. What many don't know is how Luciano balanced fear and respect to maintain control. Associates knew betrayal was a death sentence, yet they admired his vision and leadership. Luciano's empire was built on loyalty, but it thrived on fear. The downfall, betrayal, and imprisonment. In 1936, Luciano's empire began to crack. After a high-profile investigation, he was convicted of running the largest prostitution ring in U.S. history. Sentenced to 30 to 50 years in prison, Luciano's reign seemed over. But even behind bars, he remained a force to be reckoned with. During World War II, the U.S. government turned to Luciano for help securing the New York docks from sabotage. In exchange, his sentence was commuted, and he was deported to Italy. This secret deal remains one of the most controversial moments in his career. What shocked many was Luciano's ability to negotiate from a position of weakness. Even in exile, he ensured his legacy would endure, making alliances that kept his name relevant in the underworld. The final years: secret casino, exile, and influence. After his deportation to Italy, Lucky Luciano didn't fade into obscurity. Instead, he secretly orchestrated a vast gambling empire in Cuba. Working with influential mobsters like Meyer Lansky, Luciano used Havana as a hub for high-stakes casinos that catered to the wealthy and powerful. What many don't know is that Luciano hosted a secret mob summit in 1946 at the Hotel Nacional in Havana, bringing together America's top crime bosses to solidify control over international drug trafficking and gambling. The meeting, known as the Havana Conference, was a pivotal moment in organized crime history. Luciano's influence stretched far beyond his exile, proving that even in the shadows he remained the ultimate puppet master, continued to wield influence from afar. He played a key role in international drug trafficking, using his connections to expand the Mafia's reach across continents. Despite being under constant surveillance, Luciano's legend only grew. Luciano's exile wasn't a retirement, it was a repositioning. Even as the world moved against the Mafia, he adapted, ensuring his influence extended far beyond his physical reach. The shadow he cast was long, and it reached across oceans. In 1962, Luciano died of a heart attack at Naples airport, but his legacy as the man who modernized the Mafia endures. Charles Lucky. Luciano didn't just survive the violent world of organized crime, he thrived, leaving behind a blueprint for power that continues to shape the underworld today. Epilogue, the fragile foundations of power. Lucky Luciano's life was a paradox, a man of vision and violence, innovation and ruthlessness. His name remains synonymous with the dark allure of power. But behind the legend lies a simple truth. Every empire, no matter how grand, is built on fragile foundations. Thanks for watching this episode of Underworld Chronicles. If you enjoyed uncovering the dark secrets of crime history, make sure to hit that SubsCrime button and join our growing family of true crime enthusiasts. Don't miss out. New stories drop every week. Keep exploring, watch the other videos, and dive deeper into the world of crime. Let us know in the comments what story you'd like to see next. Until then, stay tuned for more tales from the underworld.